Are you looking for the new Rolex Watches Men? Then you're on right place. You're watching Watches Studio, and in this video we gonna checking out top 5 best new Rolex Watches Men for every type of consumer. We have included links in the description box down below, so let's get started our today's list with Rolex Sky Dweller, which we listed on 5th place. The Rolex Sky Dweller is, along with the Yachtmaster II, the most complex offering in the brand's current catalog. This Rolex Watch Men launched in 2012. The Rolex Oyster Perpetual Sky Dweller has, in its 8-year lifespan, become an object of cult collectability and one of the most desirable modern classic watches around. The dial of the Sky Dweller is laid out in the following way. Hours and minutes are told off the hands at the center. The reference time or home time display sits inside of the dial in an off-center 24-hour disc. A fixed inverted red triangle beneath the Rolex logo points to the home time, which is always located at the top position within this display. However, the hands can also be decoupled and quick set to a new local time when you travel to a new time zone. This Rolex watch comes with annual calendar. The annual calendar is derived from the perpetual calendar, which is a watch capable of automatically compensating for the shifting 30 or 31-day rhythm of the months, as well as accounting for the 28 days in February, and even knowing when the extra day every leap year is. The key features for this timepiece was an additional GMT hand-read off a stunning bakelite bezel that displayed time in a 24-hour format. The bezel was subdivided into red and blue sections to differentiate between day and night hours, and most importantly, could be rotated to show time in a different zone. Since then, Rolex has been synonymous with the multiple time zone watch, most famously, the GMT Master II, heir to the original model that was unveiled in 1982, which added the ability to decouple and advance or retreat the hour hand for a new local time reading without affecting the running of the seconds or the minutes. This feature would make an appearance in the incredible Sky Dweller. On 4th place we have Rolex Yachtmaster 42. Rolex almost always introduces new cases and movements in high-end watches first, in order to trickle them into the market and test them out. It is very possible that Rolex will eventually produce a steel version of the Yachtmaster 42 case somewhere down the road. That really all depends on the success of the model. My nickname for the Yachtmaster 42 in white, gold and black ceramic is the Yachtmaster Noir because it reminds me of the stylized moodiness of film noir. Visually speaking, this silver and black watch could easily be mistaken for a Submariner at a glance save for the different bezel and case shape. The bezel also has markers in relief, but the insert is also black ceramic. It is worth pointing out that, unlike the unidirectional rotating bezel of the Submariner or other Rolex dive watches, the Yachtmaster 42 has a bidirectional rotating bezel. Note that even though the Yachtmaster and Submariner look very similar, the Yachtmaster is water-resistant to 100 meters, while the Submariner is water-resistant to 300 meters. Inside the Yachtmaster 42 is Rolex's newer generation workhorse movement, the caliber 3235. Accurate to about 2 seconds or better a day, this 4 Hz frequency movement offers 70 hours of power reserve. Too bad you can't see it through the case back of the Men watch. It would have been really cool to see the movement through the sapphire crystal with a black-colored automatic rotor. No, Rolex will not likely ever do that. Put the Yachtmaster 42 Noir on your wrist, and you'll likely agree it is a very nice watch. On 3rd place we have Rolex Datejust 31. Rolex has introduced 4 new references in Oyster Perpetual Just 31 references in Rolser cases that combine oyster steel with 18K white gold, all featuring dials in a range of vibrant colorways. Here is everything you need to know about Rolex's new Oyster Just 31 models. The first timepiece features a bezel set with 46 brilliant cut diamonds and has an aubergine, sunray finish dial adorned with a diamond set Roman V numeral at 6 o'clock. The crystal is made of scratch-proof sapphire and is fitted with a cyclops lens at 3 o'clock for easy reading of the date. The new Just 31 case measures 31 mm in diameter. According to Rolex, it has guaranteed water resistance to a depth of 330 feet. The case middle is crafted from a block of oyster steel, an alloy from the 904-liter steel family typically used in the aerospace industry for its anti-corrosion properties similar to those of precious metals. Protecting the case and the dial is a scratch-proof sapphire crystal fitted with a Cyclops lens over the date display window at 3 o'clock. The screw-down case back edged with subtle fluting, an element first introduced on an oyster model in 1926, has been fastened with a unique tool that allows only Rolex watchmakers access to the movement. The new Datejust 31 models come equipped with a movement developed and manufactured by Rolex. The self-winding mechanical movement, caliber 2236, is fitted with a siloxy hairspring, patented and produced by the brand, which according to Rolex can remain up to 10 times more precise than a traditional hairspring in case of shocks. The hairspring, made from silicon and silicon oxide, was created in-house using deep reactive ion etching. Since silicon is affected by temperature change, this process covers the hairspring in an oxide layer, rendering it thermocompensating. The new Oyster Perpetual Just 31 meets Rolex's superlative chronometer certification, which Rolex redefined in 2015, which requires each fully assembled timepiece to undergo a series of tests that include testing the watch's performance and precision on the wrist, its power reserve, its water resistance, and the movement's self-winding capabilities. The standard set of a Rolex superlative chronometer must meet -2 + 2 seconds per day or more to be titled an official superlative chronometer. On second last place we have Rolex Explorer 2. In my opinion, though, the model that was most ready for a reboot was the divisive Explorer 2. Here is a watch that has been in production for 1 year shy of a decade and, until recently, hasn't exactly been a fan favorite. In fact, before stainless steel professional models escalated in value, the Explorer 2, in either the black or white dial, was readily available from your local ad. I should know, I used to work for one. The Explorer 2's black dial is perhaps the sole area of the timepiece where this is only partly true. Sure, the legibility on offer here is profound. Even the quickest of peeks at the Stygian, satin-finished dial provides the wearer with all the information they need. But Rolex has also seen fit to adorn the dial with stylistic cues that aim to pay homage to the first ever incarnation of the namesake, the Ref. 1655 Freshie Norse Steve McQueen Explorer 2. The base of the Mercedes handset and the iconic bright orange 24-hour hand are painted black, which creates the famed phantom effect and gives the impression that the hands are floating above the dial. In the case of the Explorer 2, both the top of the lugs, as well as the fixed steel bezel, is brushed, which bolsters the watch's rugged bravado. The flanks of the case and lugs, however, are polished to a gorgeous mirror finish, which provides a nice contrast and does heighten the overall feeling of quality. Dimensionally, the Explorer 2 measures in at 42 mm across and best for middle-aged men, which for some is simply too big. But, because the case is relatively slim at 12 mm thick, it does wear smaller than you may think. In fact, the Explorer 2 is a full millimeter slimmer than a Submariner, and you can tell. Unlike the Subby, though, the Explorer 2 is only waterproof to 100 meters. But wading through jungle streams is still on the table. It has a screw-down caseback and screw-down crown with twin-lock double waterproofness system. It can take more than just a splash or two. I like to utilize it as an indication of home time when traveling, freeing up the regular hour hand to adjust to local time. The Explorer 2's oyster bracelet is finished with vertical brushing on both its front and back, while the flanks are highly polished to a mirror finish that complements the side of the case and lugs. Interacting with the gorgeous bracelet is also a complete and utter joy, thanks to it being paired with Rolex's Oyster Lock deploy and clasp with EasyLink extension, which allows wearers to micro-adjust the bracelet up to 5 mm. I was surprised just how much I enjoyed wearing the Explorer 2. If nothing else, it served to remind me why these Rolex steel professional models are so desired. They truly are like nothing else out there. On first place of this category we have Rolex Submariner. Give watch, tool watch, Sportmen watch. The Rolex Submariner is all of these things. If you trace it back to its roots, you'll find a timepiece that defied its underwater branding to become something else entirely, a stone-cold icon on dry land. The Submariner looks damn near identical to its predecessor. In fact, the changes to the case actually make the watch appear slimmer. The old maxi case is gone. Instead, the 41mm size coupled with a 21mm lug width creates a case profile that looks far more like the Submariners of old than the 114,060. But let's get pedantic. On paper, the new Submariner reads as 41mm in diameter, but when we measured it ourselves, it came out somewhere between 40.6 and 40.8 depending on where you catch the case with the calipers. The lugs have been slimmed down as a result of the slight increase in case size. Other than the size, the case looks like it always has. We have the same 904 liters steel holding it all together, the solid caseback, the crown guards, the signed crown, and the combination of both brushed and polished surfaces. If there's one thing that has remained a visual staple for steel Rolex sport watches, it's the oyster bracelet. It's all brushed, toolish in nature, is every bit as iconic as the watches it's held secure to our wrists. Much like the entire watch, the new Submariner bracelet is both the same and different. At a quick glance, this is the same bracelet as on prior models. In reality, however, with the 21mm lug width, it's now wider than on previous subs. For one thing, the sub still has the same clasp system it introduced back in 2012. To that end, a millimeter or two of difference in bracelet taper matters very little when dealing with a clasp this large. Even though the clasp is unchanged, it's not outdated. In fact, it's still one of the best systems available. The overall styling of the new Submariner is the same. That satisfyingly clicky unidirectional bezel still features the black ceramic insert and luminous pearl. Each of the numerals on the bezel is recessed and platinum-filled for both durability and legibility. I'm sure there are a few people out there who would like to have seen a loomed bezel, but again, this is a Submariner. This is all for now. You can check links in the description box down below. All Rolex Watches Men are available on Amazon. You can check in the price by clicking on the link. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.